Servus and willkommen to another exciting day of filming in Vienna, Austria. Don't be confused by the fact that the weather is almost exactly the same and the fact I'm wearing the same clothes as last time. It's actually a whole week since I've been here. So right now I'm walking to my hotel. Hopefully it'll be nice. I decided to spring for a hotel instead of a hostel this time, so I'm only going to stay 2 nights. I still got a very good deal for what is supposed to be a 4-star hotel. I'm paying about 59 euros for 2 nights. That's about $70, 35 a night. Not terrible. So long as the place is nice. Until then though, or rather after that, I need to find a place to watch the F1 Grand Prix today. It's the Portuguese one, so should be a good race. Lewis Hamilton already has pole position, so I think I know who's going to win, but it'll still be fun to watch. So it'd be nice to find a sports bar to see that. So we'll see if there's anything around Vienna. So I think this Irish pub looks pretty promising as far as a place to watch the Grand Prix. You've got the Sky Sports thing and the Guinness thing up. You know, they're probably going to have some good sports on, at least a couple TVs. The question is, of course, will they be open on a Sunday before a holiday even? So TBD, but keep my eye on that place. As I predicted, it was way too early to check in for the hotel. It's only about 10:30 here. Check-in's not till 2. That was fine though. They let me throw my backpack there, so I won't have to carry that around all day. It's much heavier when I actually bring my computer, so that's nice. Yeah, so now I'm gonna go check out Cafe Westend, which is on the far western part of the city. I think there's also a bigger rail station there, so hopefully I can buy a pass for the city of Vienna, because I don't want to walk around, 40,000 steps like I did last time. That was a bit too much, so gonna check out this cafe, heard it's great, and then buy my train tickets. So. Cafe Westend is in that building. It's the west train station for the city of Vienna. It's quite an imposing structure actually. I hadn't realized how big it was. It appears to still be under construction, but it's very new age looking. As you can see, a lot of metal and a weird geometric shape as well. But the pictures I've seen of the cafe look beautiful, so I'm excited to see what it looks like inside. Turns out I'm a complete dope and Cafe Westend is right across from the train station, but still looks great. Still can't wait to check it out. So all the important parts remain true. It looks awesome. So I actually find this comparison, this really direct comparison, rather strange. So you see on this side, this is the super modern part of the Westbahnhof I was showing earlier. So it's all metal and glass, and then it contrasts directly with what must be the older station, which is a very classic stone building. It's got Westbahnhof in silver letters on it, and it's got a clock, so it's just a bit of a strange contrast. In any case, I'm now heading towards a random church I saw. I don't exactly know how far away it is because it looks rather large, and I don't know what church it is, but hopefully they'll let me in. It's a Sunday, so I guess I can always say I'm there for prayer. But yeah, as far as Cafe Westend goes, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I got the Wiener Frühstück, which is 2 pieces of bread, jam, butter, and a soft cooked egg. It's pretty much the same everywhere. It's always very good. The bread's very fresh. Most of what you're paying for, I think, is the ambiance, because it's usually a little expensive. But yeah, it's the same thing I got at Cafe Central, so I wanted to have the comparison between the two, and I'd say it's practically the same thing. So go wherever you like the ambiance more, or go to both and just get the experience. But overall, it's quite good. So this I find really rude. Vienna has this great system where there's a bunch of drinking fountains around the city telling you to drink water, which I think is great, but it seems like people oftentimes use them as a trash can. It's not the first time I've seen this either. The water's super good though if you can find one that's not completely trashed. So here it is, the random church I just happened to see while I was walking about and wanted to check out. So it's a brown church. It's got a rounded dome at the top, which makes me wonder if maybe it's a Greek Orthodox church. It otherwise doesn't look like one, so I somewhat doubt it, but that would explain why I hadn't heard anything about it. It's under construction, like seemingly every church in Vienna right now. So yeah, in any case, I'm gonna see if I can get inside. So I will not be allowed in because there's no entrance right now, but in what can only be described as an amazing coincidence, I was actually right about the fact that this is an Orthodox church. It's called, let me look it up again, Kirche Maria vom Siege. So yeah, Orthodox church, I nailed it. I know a thing or two about churches, I guess. Yeah, now I don't know what to do. That was kind of my big plan. So I guess head into the city, find some cake to eat, call it a day. I don't know. I'm still pretty far on the west side of the city, but apparently this street will lead me right to the museum quartier. From there I can head to the center of the city. I'm gonna check out Hotel Sacher, which is apparently where Sacher Torte was actually invented, so that should be worth checking out, getting some good chocolate cake. But this is a really nice area to just walk in. It's actually quite busy, even in spite of the corona restrictions. And I don't mean that they're not following them, I just mean there are more people than you might expect. So yeah, I think I've actually been here before last weekend, but I'm not sure. A lot of these alleys and main streets, walking zones is what I meant to say, look very similar, so it's possible not. Up ahead is the Haus des Meers. I don't know anything about it. It says it's a zoo. It was recommended to me as something to do by one of my friends in Pinkefeld, but I can't remember what he said it was, so I may check and see if it's open. Looks like minimally it'll have a great view of the city, and yeah, I like zoos well enough, so seems like it'll be worth it. So it would appear it's still work in progress. They list when the things are going to be done. Looks like the last thing will be in 2022. But I think the thing at the top, the bar, is definitely open, so I have to try that. All right, so apparently this place is open. It's a bar, so I was a little surprised, but here's the view on the way up. It's a very foggy day in Vienna, which is too bad. I think I might have to come back here when it's a little clearer, because looks like you'd have a great view of minimally Karlskirche there. Ooh, we're going up. I used to be so afraid of elevators as a kid. I'm getting stuck, but now I'm better. To give you an idea of how foggy Vienna is today, you can't see more than about half a kilometer in any direction. This place would definitely just be an unbelievable view on a nicer day. I'm definitely coming back here, so don't worry too much about the fog today. I'm assuming there are a lot of Irish people in Vienna, because there are an unbelievable number of Irish pubs. I mean, it's really shocking. It's like being in Boston, for Christ's sakes. I mean, I'm not complaining, to be sure. I like Irish pubs. It's just a bit of a surprise that in a city with such a culture for breweries and things like that, that Irish pubs would be able to get such a big market share. I was gonna show the Hofburg, but I got distracted by this crow with a giant nut in its mouth. There's the Hofburg, the back of it. I'm gonna try to go do the tour of the CC apartments, so that's the actual apartments that I didn't do last time because I ran out of time. This is a garden you can walk through. It's free, of course. It's a public park, so that's nice. But looks like there's a little green, I think probably from the copper rusting that's gotten onto the marble. Or maybe it's a St. Patrick's Day thing a bunch of months in advance. You never know. Definitely one of the two. The Hofburg tour is over. My big takeaways. First of all, Franz Josef is a complete simp, or rather was a complete simp. It's a word I think is often overused, but in this case is very applicable, because he was an essentially universally beloved emperor who governed one of the largest empires in Europe, and his wife, all she did was sit around and mope. And they try to make her into this somewhat likable figure in the museum, but it's hard to get past the fact that apparently all she did was complain about being the empress. Now I understand that women had it harder back then, but I mean, empress is better than a lot of the positions you could have had, so I found that sort of frustrating. But otherwise, it's a super cool museum. It's very similar to Schönbrunn, but in terms of the decoration, I mean, it's still worth seeing both of them. And if I were to do it over again, I'd see them both in the same weekend, because you can buy one ticket and it's good for both museums. So you save, I think, 5 or 6 euros, which is, you know, a substantial amount of money if you're going to be seeing them both anyway. So, but yeah, check out the Hofburg. It's really great. You can form your own opinion of the people they depict in there. So, yeah. I had noticed this guy's face before on the sculpture in front of the Hofburg, but it's so creepy. His eyes are a little too wide, in my opinion. So this is the Spanish Reitschule, home of the Lipizzaner stallions. So those are all the white horses you see. This is the hotel that allegedly invented the Sachertorte. It's okay. Yeah, there's another place that claims it too, but I have a tendency to believe the one that actually has Sacher in the name. So Cafe Sacher brought the heat. It was really good. Probably one of the best cakes I've ever had. With that being said, was it 8 euros worth of good cake? I would argue maybe not. And the coffee was ridiculously expensive as well. So I ended up not getting any, which probably detracted from the whole experience. But I think it's one of those places you go once for the novelty of it, because it is really, really good. They've been making it since the 1830s, so it makes sense it's that good. It stood the test of time, but I'm not sure I'd go there every day unless I had a lot more money burning a hole in my pocket. But it's worth checking out just for the experience. I have no idea what's going on here. People wearing anonymous masks and holding iPads, so just another day in Vienna. If you're in Vienna and you've had too much to drink, there's one of one things to order. It's called a Käsekräne. It's a cheese-filled brat with some mustard and bread. It is exactly what you need. You will feel better. It's the absolute best. A lot of people have this much later in the evening, but because I was a little overzealous, I'm having it about 5 o'clock, so yeah, definitely, this is what you need. You find a Wurststand, it's a Wurststand, and you're set to go. Well, let it be known, McDonald's is putting together a legit play in Europe, a continent where even Walmart failed, which, if anyone were to succeed, it'd be Walmart, right? My point is this, I was just in a Walmart, excuse me, I was just in a McDonald's somewhere in central Vienna, and it was doing absolutely fabulous business. The cafe, in fact, was the biggest hit, which surprises me because there are so many great cafes actually in Vienna that are Viennese or minimally Austrian. But there you go. As far as what I was doing there, I'm an American on vacation, so you know I got to check out the McDonald's, see how my country's #1 brand is doing abroad, and appears they're doing quite well. So how about that? Also, over here we have the Little Danube. I'm pretty sure this is an offshoot of the actual Danube, so don't take my word on that, I have no idea. So I've decided that today I'm going to see the Danube River, regardless of whether it's nighttime or not. It's starting to get dark, weirdly early. It's like 4:30, I think, so I think part of it is it's just overcast, but yeah, I'm gonna walk into a part of the city that I've never been and hopefully see a river. But yeah, the trick to all this is that I have a rail pass, so if at some point I get tired after walking that far, or if it turns out to be a sketchier area than I thought, I can just hop on a train and get back to where I need to go from my hotel. So it works out. I think we'll be okay. Well, in my quest to find the Danube, I've stumbled upon some sort of building. I don't know what it is. It says Augarten Wien. So it's the Augarten. There's some sort of park over to my left, which I suppose I will have to explore, but truth be told, I've no idea where I am. And I think I'm about 45 minutes from the river. It might just be the weather or the decaying, what looks like a nuclear tower in the background, but this has got to be top 10 most dystopian parks I've ever seen in my life. Really, it's a tower in the background that's decaying that makes it look so dystopian. But also this wall. This wall looks like it's in a state of disrepair, which really only adds to the effect. So number one, there's another dystopian tower. It's got to be about 40 stories tall. Number two, this park is great because there are a bunch of these little trails that lead off from the main path, which means if you've really got to pee, then you can escape the main trail and get your business done. Now, obviously there are laws against public urination in Vienna, at least I assume there are, but the number one law, the law of nature, says when nature calls, you got to answer. So these paths are a pretty solid thing if you're able to duck off. Whatever the building is, it's not exempt from what I understand to be the number one rule of Vienna, which is if you build it, they will spray paint it. There's graffiti everywhere in the city. So I think it's quite nice, actually. I don't mind graffiti, at least a little bit. But if you don't like graffiti, you're going to be gritting your teeth a lot in Vienna. I recommend you buy a mouth guard of some sort. Ahead, that's the Millenium Tower and Millennium City, which I think is a set of, or is more of a shopping mall, but I fully intend to come back here tomorrow in the daylight and hopefully get a better video of it. But since historically I have poor follow through on stuff like that, I'll try to get some good video of it tonight as well. So I believe the Dana is out those doors, excuse me, the Danube. It's out those doors, but this is Millennium City. And just like that, we've reached the mighty Danube River, one of the major waterways of Europe. I'm just pointing the camera this way because that's the only place there's any light, so you can at least sort of see the water moving. But it goes a long way. It's a big river. I bet you could probably swim across it, but it wouldn't be pleasant. If only because it's rather cold outside. And behind us is Millennium. But yeah, made it. So whatever that accomplished, I did it. To illustrate the fact that today was basically a big lap both through and around Vienna, I present to you Cafe Westend at night. That is correct. I took the train all the way from Millenium Tower back to the west end of the city. So I think that's going to be it for today. I'm kind of tired out from all the walking, so I don't anticipate going back out tonight, but if I do, I'll surely take the camera along so you all will know.